Um, ooh, did you guys hear that or did I just hear that? Oh, we have one more coming in. Miss Deb. So Kelly, I was just letting Stu know we're going to be, if you are on the portal or have access to or whatever, we're going to be dealing in module 3 in the section on healing with harmonics. So we're going to talk a little bit about emotions. And hello, Deb.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. We're going to be working in module 3 if you are pulled up on the portal. If you're not, that's okay. I don't think you really need to be, but we are in module 3 on healing with harmonics today, Miss Deb.
Okay.
All right. So let me just get some background on everyone. Stu, I know what you've been up to, but Kelly, are you doing sound baths? Are you doing private sound? Are you doing sound at all right now, kind of in your daily life, anywhere? What are you up to?
No, it's packed up. I had family that moved in.
Okay.
So my music, workout, all the extra stuff we do in a room is now become a guest room. So
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And this stuff
they're
requires
hiding
some
under my
space.
bed right now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I got that. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a tough there, the sound healing. It doesn't always require a ton of room, but the equipment does take up some space, especially if you want to use it. So, okay. Okay. What about you, Deb? Are you doing sound baths or individual sessions or anything like that?
Yeah, I've been doing vibrational sessions.
Awesome.
I'm actually on the way back from Montreal, and I was doing a few up there with friends to show them what it is. But I usually do like at least one a week. I live in a shared house, so some of the people there, they love the sessions.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Very cool. Okay. And has everybody taken the bowls on the body, the vibrational sound healing class? Did you? Okay, so Kelly, you have not. Deb, you took that class, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay. So one of the things we're going to be talking about today is going to be vibration directly on the body, but we're also going to talk about just how this all works. I mean, healing with harmonics is all about what those vibrations and those frequencies, how it all works, right? So we do talk about it in level 1, but this just kind of dives a little bit deeper of its frequency, its vibration. We have this electromagnetic field that surrounds us. Some people say that it can be away from us as far as 8 to 12 feet. I mean, that's pretty far. And this electromagnetic body is like our whiskers. It's like our filtering system. So it collects all this stuff and then it kind of filters into us. And then also stuff that's going on within us moves out of us and filters into this. And sometimes things get stuck out here, but also things get stuck in here. So when we're doing group sound baths, you are still going to move those energies. You are probably still going to have people who have some sort of emotional release or some sort of reaction. But I feel like in private sound baths, we especially have to really be cognizant of how all this works, because when you put vibration directly on the body, or you have those bowls very close around the body, that is super concentrated vibration and frequency, right? And what happens is that within us, we could have stuff stored from when we were kids. We had a trauma when we were a kid. I dropped a cement block on my toe when I was a kid and almost like completely broke one of my toes off. And I didn't think that it was something that even like stuck with me. But every now and then I will have this, something will happen or something will fall off something like towards my foot. And I have this like this panic moment. And then I go, where the heck did that come from? And it's something that I don't even know that I'm carrying around with me, but it's something that gets triggered sometimes. So we all have that. We maybe don't know we have that. So we have conscious things that we work on, things that we know we have to work through, those shadow things about ourselves, those energetic things, those patterns of thought we'd like to get rid of. But we also have all these layers of unconscious emotions. They're just living within us, and we don't even know they're there sometimes until we hear a sound or something falls off a shelf or you hear a banging noise. I mean, that's PTSD too, right? Somebody could hear a firework goes off and now they're having a PTSD moment, and you just don't know, you don't even maybe know that that's happening. So one thing that we are doing with all of this work, and I know we know all this, but we're gonna just keep talking about it because that's what it's all about, is by vibrating that frequency into our electromagnetic field, we're kind of smoothing that energy out. And by doing that, we're kind of clearing out all of those things. And some people might have a reaction to that. They might cry or laugh. Sometimes if I'm really nervous, and it's like always in super inappropriate times too. I get the giggles. Like, I know this is super inappropriate. I don't know why this is happening, but that's my nervous response sometimes. So in a group sound bath, you could have that a lot. Hang on one second. I have two more people, do I? Oh yeah, right here. Sorry, you guys, I'm just admitting a couple more people. All right. Alex, are you there? Hello.
Yeah.
And Bree is just connecting in. Hi.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Stu, how you doing? I was just actually messaging you because I didn't know if you were going to have the meeting. It was just.
Oh, okay. Sherry should have sent out a link to everybody today. Did everybody get the link?
Yeah, I got it. But I was
Okay, perfect. Because I had to create my own Zoom account to be able to host these meetings. I don't know. That's why we couldn't do it last week. So the link that you guys had is not going to work. It's the link you guys got today. So, okay. So we're in module 3. We're talking about healing with harmonics. So we're just kind of going over basically the big picture, the deep picture of how the vibrations and the sound works and how it clears things out. So, okay. So, and sometimes, again, we don't even know what those subconscious things could be, or things that people are storing in their body are things that they're 100% sure that they've already cleared out, right? But they haven't. And I think if you've ever had instruments on the body or you took that vibrational class, I don't know about you, Stu, we took the class together. I feel like stuff moved through me, and I don't even know that I identified exactly what it was, but I felt stuff release out of me that I was pretty sure I had no idea was in there. So, you know, it just, you leave there and you feel lighter and you're like, what the heck was that all about? I'm not sure. I don't care. It was awesome. Let's do some more of that. So, yeah. So I think the cool thing about all this is by getting that vibration out here, it then filters into the body. So it clears all this stuff away and then gets into the body and kind of vibrates out all of the stuff that's stored in there. So, you know, the cool thing about a sound bath or sound healing is you don't have to be, you know, we want to know what's going on with our clients. In a group sound bath, you're probably not going to know that as much unless you have a meet and greet ahead of time and like, oh, hey, what are you here for? Which you're probably not going to do. You know, in my private sound baths, I like to know what's going on with someone, especially if they have pain or they know that they're dealing with something. They have grief, or we're dealing with PTSD, or we're coaching through a breakup or something like that. But you don't always have to know and be super specific, because if you're doing a sound bath and you've got everything around the body, you're going to hit everything. You're going to hit the electromagnetic field. You're going to hit in the body. The cool thing is, though, is that once you start working with stuff on the body, you can really be specific. In with tuning forks, you can get certain frequencies that match up to all the different organs in the body, but then they also have tuning forks that give you all of the planetary elements, or you can get a set that deals with all the chakras. So then you could go through and really balance out. If you know someone is dealing with grief, you would go through and work that heart chakra. You'd work the solar plexus, you'd work the throat, kind of work in that area. So with stuff on the body, you can get more specific. So in your private sessions, you would want to know more about what the client has going on. But in actuality, in private sessions, if you're putting bowls around the body, you're going to affect all of the areas of the body that you need to. Where we come into this being so important in the work we're doing is it's the unconscious or the subconscious emotions that we just want to make sure we have a good understanding of, because you could have people, you know, I think as healers and people in this community, we tend to know the things we need to work on. I think we feel like maybe we get triggered is one of those words that I know people don't like, but if anybody has a better word for triggered, I feel like I can't find a word that gives us the idea of what's going on there. But someone could have an experience that, when we're working in this sound healing session where maybe they do have something come up for them. And if they don't have the tools to breathe through that and let it come up, I mean, we hear about this a lot, right? When we're going through something, you need to lean into it a little bit. You have to feel it. You have to at least understand it, get it out, or it does get stored in the body. So I have a few clients who they're just getting into this kind of mindfulness world. So they maybe don't have meditation, or they maybe don't have all the tools that they need to help them through all this stuff. But you may have people in your private sessions that end up having some sort of emotional release that scares them, or that makes them feel out of control. And I think we just need to be aware that those are things that we're going to have to help them through. So I want to make sure that you guys have things in place, whether it's, if you don't do coaching yourself, having someone that you can refer people to if they need to find someone to help coach them, or have things available such as offering them your coaching services, talking with them about meditation, having things available for your clients so that if something does come up for them, you have a way to help them process it when they leave your space, because we're holding space for them. And we talk about intention and having the responsibility when they're in front of us. But if we're going to do these private sessions, we have a responsibility to help them process through those things when they leave us. Because if someone has something pop up from, say, their shadow stuff, it could be very heavy for them. And I think that it's also our responsibility to help with that. So does anybody have any experiences happening with any of this stuff, and how did you handle it? And yeah, what you got, Alex?
I'm not an experience per se, but I just a question, because we touch upon the holding space, right?
Mhm.
So if you're like in a setting that just doing that privately, right, with someone, and something like that happens, right? They start just freaking out or crying, nonstop. And I mean, it is scary for them, but also for, let's say, for me, right? I'm just starting out. I don't know. I mean, holding space. I mean, sure, just yes, I can just try to calm them down, but just should I, talk to them? Should I hug them? I mean, what to do at the moment? No, yes, when my kids are crying, my wife, I can just jump right in. Hey, that is the, but with a client, how do I position myself so I don't freak out, but also I'm there for them so that I can calm them down and just in the.
For sure. I think in a group sound bath, most of the time, not that we tell you to, you're not ignoring them, but you don't want to walk over necessarily and put your arm on them. Or a lot of the times you just keep going and let them have their release. And then at the end, if they want to talk about it, they can. I have never had anybody sobbing within a sound bath. So I don't, my feeling is that I always let people know in my group sound baths, if you ever need to leave, because I have to lock my front door, please just unlock the door. You're welcome to step out at any time. I kind of set it up that if they feel like they're overwhelmed and they need to get out, they are welcome to do so. I feel like I do reiterate that in my sound baths. If something comes up for you, or sometimes people I had one lady who just started coughing and coughing and coughing and coughing, and she couldn't stop. And it's throat chakra stuff, right? She'd never had that before. So she actually ended up leaving the sound bath because she was just disturbing everyone. And she kind of did that. So she left. And I think for me, in a group sound bath, I would let everyone know that they do have a way out of the space if they need it. And I would hope that they would stick around to talk to me afterwards, but I feel like I don't have much control over that. I can only control what I can control in a group sound bath, right? So letting people know that this is a safe space and you are safe here and I am here for you. But if you do feel like you need to go, here is the, so I think through that, if, in a group sound bath, I feel like I would probably just keep going, but I would keep an eye on them to make sure that they are doing okay. And I would probably make a point where I would normally go stand by the door and let people come to me. If someone is very upset, I would probably make a point just to say, are you doing okay? Is there anything that I can do to help you? I don't think that there's any, I wouldn't do it in front of everyone. I would pull them aside just in case they didn't want to talk about it. But I would maybe at least say, I am here if this is something that you feel like you want to work through or talk about. And maybe they won't. And maybe they'll come back the next week and then want to talk about it, because sometimes those things can be scary. So I guess that's what I would do. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that?
You don't need to follow up with them, right? Just like, no, if they don't come back, you don't call them, hey, is everything okay? Is there anything I can help you with?
No, I feel like because they came to a group setting,
but
if they came to me
Right.
privately, then yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'd follow up all day. They sought me out privately. That's what they wanted from me, that exchange. In a group, people aren't necessarily looking for that. Some people are, but some people are not. And if this is their first sound bath experience and this something big comes up for them, they may just want to go and figure out what the heck just happened. And we just voodooed them with our sound magic. And now they're scared of us. Yeah. Anybody else do?
Yeah, in a group setting, I've never had that happen. And I've done 4 bowls on the body, and then I had one in the center and bowls around, and it went really well. But a one-on-one not too long ago when I was in Charlotte, um, on the front, the girl just started crying, and you could just see it just started and it started building. And of course, I was doing the bowl, and so I kind of just stopped. And then whether they twitch or jerk, I always ask, okay, is everything all right? Are you okay? Okay, just breathe with it, breathe into it, and just talk them through it. And then it went from the crying to laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just really laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was done, it was a one-on-one session, and I just said, "Well, how'd everything go? How you feeling?" And she said, "What's interesting is," and I did the front and the back, that the back feels more relaxed and more protected, but the front seems a lot more emotional. That you're exposed and emotions come up, and it was interesting. And she said, "Well, maybe you should do like 30 minutes on the back first for a new person and then have them go over." So I might try that, but it was really interesting. But all you do is you're holding space, right? So you're in tune with the client. So you stop, you say, okay, is everything okay? Are you all right?
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I'm all right." Okay, so just let's breathe with it.
Mm-hmm.
Let it come up. Don't attach to it. Whatever's there, let it come up. You know.
And you could even say something like that in your group sound baths. Like if you feel like someone is really, I mean, we don't want to say a lot of words all the time in a group sound bath, but I think it would be okay that if you see someone like really crying and struggling, if you just say out loud very quietly, just remember to breathe, everyone, breathe in and out. And that's all you have to do, because you're not singling that person out necessarily. You're just reminding everyone to breathe, but you are talking to that person. So sometimes just taking a breath, like Stu said. I start all my massage sessions face down, Stu. So I have to tell you, I start all my vibrational sound sessions face down. It is just how I feel like you are 100% correct. On the backside, we're not as vulnerable. We don't feel as exposed and vulnerable. So it's easier for people to relax. It also introduces that vibration and those bowls on the body in a place that isn't so personal. The front side of our bodies is a little more personal than the back side. So I do the very same thing. I start actually face down because for me, that's just in my massage brain, how that works out. So just something to consider, everyone. You can start these sessions however makes sense for you. But yeah, so I think, we talk a lot about intention. So I think that is something that we really need to think about before we go into a group sound bath or a private session, is that intention of we're going to hold space for this person. But we do also need to remember and be realistic about the fact that we're not just vibrating and putting things around and, oh, it sounds pretty and isn't this great? It does sound pretty and it is great, but we could really be shifting heavy things within people. And that's a responsibility that we really do need to think about. Bree, when you do one-to-one sound baths, are other bowls on the floor or on tables beside the client? For sure. When I do one-on-one, if I do my sessions on a table, I will put I will sometimes do tray tables like around my massage table, and I will put my it's usually my crystal bowls, and then I'll put some Himalayan bowls like around those, and then I'll use those for on the body and then off the body as well. So in a one-on-one session, I am doing stuff on the body, I'm doing stuff off the body, I'm doing stuff kind of way out around. If I'm doing chimes, I'll kind of start my chimes and circle around the client and kind of make a little, and then eventually get the chimes over them. And then sometimes I'll circle back out and kind of go around the room a little, because I want that variation of, I don't want everything just to be super concentrated right here all the time. I want that sound to expand, and I want it to, as I get away from the client and out into my room, the sound is going to change because it's going to bounce off things differently than if it's right here. So, you know, and also when it, like Stu, you were saying you had the bowls on the body and this person was really reacting, sometimes just ease up on the intensity of the chiming. Because sometimes I think our instinct is we want to stop that because the client is uncomfortable, but sometimes they don't. You need to finish that to completion. Do you know what I mean? Like when we're and this is, I feel like it's kind of the same concept. Like if somebody comes in with a muscle cramp, I have to almost force that contraction to release that muscle. It's almost like that muscle can't release until that contraction. And I feel like emotions sometimes are the same way. Like we've started to bubble that up. And I think our instinct is when somebody has that, we want to stop. I feel like sometimes I will ease up a little bit just to make it a little more, but I don't necessarily stop. I wait to see, because if you ease up just a little bit and take that intensity away just a little bit, you could get all of that to release. Sometimes if we don't, then maybe that stays stuck here now instead of, you know, down lower, which isn't a bad thing. It's moving. But I think something to think about, you know, when we talk about chiming bowls, or even in a group sound bath, or when you play something really intensely, you're going to bring up that intense emotion, right? But then when you play it softer, you kind of bring that. So just remember that within your sound baths, you want to vary how loud you play your instruments, because there's different things, energy is moving within the body and out here by all of those different things. Think about like when you go to the orchestra and they really play those, and then they soften it and they play it quietly. So think about what you're doing, like you're an orchestra conductor now, right? But I feel like, especially when someone's a little bit, if we calm it down, it almost is, it allows them to relax enough to get whatever's happening to actually release. So just some things to think about. You know, I think in the next module, we talk about like brain waves, and we talk about, you know, different palliative care, sound healing for hospice, different things like that. I mean, that gets into a totally different realm, but at the same time, while we're talking about emotions and, you know, if you have people coming in with terminal illnesses, somebody who is dealing with the cancer diagnosis, or someone who is in a lot of chronic pain, you are going to be dealing with layers and layers and layers of emotions. So I want to encourage you to, you know, not just one and done with those people. I think that if you have people who are coming in with things like that, they need sessions more regularly, because I think there's so many layers to, I have a client right now who has cancer. She's on her second time with it. She's in remission again, but every 3 months she has to have a scan, and every 3 months she has a full-blown panic attack. Like she legit just completely, and she has all the tools. I have her meditating. I have playlists that I've created for her. So when she's in chemo, she's listening to binaural beats and she's listening to Joe Dispenza talking about how you can rewire your brain to heal everything you got going on in your body. I have motivational. She has all the tools. But that fear of that cancer coming back for a third time overrides every single thing we have worked on for the past 2 years. It just takes it and completely obliterates it. And I don't know about you guys, but when I am in times of extreme pressure, I tend to do that too sometimes. I forget all the tools that I know. And then I have to take a deep breath and go, okay, you know how to deal with this. Let's get it together and take a deep breath. But I have those tools and I have that mindset to keep coming back to it. But for someone who doesn't, that can be a super, I mean, and we sometimes have to work together twice a week during those times, just to keep her, just to keep her going. So this is something else I just want to, if you guys haven't done private stuff, or even if you have, or even group stuff, you could have someone who is dealing with a lot more than any other person you maybe have dealt with before. So just be aware of those things, and really holding space, as we've talked about. Sometimes it's not even about saying anything, right? Sometimes when people are having those releases, it's not even about saying, oh, are you okay? They just need to know that you're there and that they're safe and that they can cry and feel whatever. And then most of the time, I feel like after somebody has a good cry or a good release, they usually feel better and more grounded afterwards. So, yeah. So I think, Harmonics has the ability to really move energy. Eileen McCusick, who is somebody that I'm studying one of her tuning fork classes right now, she kind of has this theory that when we feel an emotion as humans, we've been programmed to instantly suppress. That's what we do. So she believes that as soon as we suppress an emotion, a piece of that emotion breaks off and lodges somewhere within our body. So that is also something I want you to think about. I always encourage people to cry. If you feel like you want to cry, what is the first thing we all do? I'm sure everybody here has done it. As soon as you feel like you're going to cry, you try to swallow it down. I'm not going to cry. 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 As tears are rolling down your face and you're still sucking it in and you can't breathe because you're choking on it. Why do we do that? It's okay to cry. I don't remember ever being told as a kid that crying was a sign of weakness, and yet I still suppress it. So people are doing that with all sorts of emotions every day, and they're seeking us out right now because we have the tools to help them work through these things, whether they're aware of it or not. I believe that the energy of this planet, the energy of this time, is calling all of us to seek out different ways of healing, to seek out different ways to heal ourselves, to heal these traumas and patterns of thought and crap that we're tired of carrying around with us, addictions and all of those things, weight loss, getting healthy, whatever it is for you. We're reaching this point now where all of us are just sick of that, but we're also sick of talking. We've talked and talked and talked and talked about our problems, and we've talked about what we have to do to work through them, and we've talked and talked. I think coaching is a great tool, meditation, different things like that, because there's not a lot of talking. But I think that's why people are seeking out sound healing as well. You just get to come and lay, and you don't have to think about anything, and you don't have to try to visualize anything, and you don't have to try to do anything, and you don't have to talk to anyone if you don't want to, and you can just come in and do your thing. So I think you guys are going to be, if you're not already, I think this world is exploding around us. I think people have been suppressing things for a long time, and we're starting to realize that it's okay to feel those things. And it really sucks that we lived in a world where we couldn't feel those things. But I think because of all of you, and all of us out there in the world, hopefully we can help start making all of this a little bit easier for everybody. So yeah, does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to talk about? Anything dealing with emotions or anything you got going on?
I have a question.
Sure.
When you're doing the private sessions,
Mhm.
I guess group also, I mean, but private sessions more, I think. h- Do you have you had the experience where you kind of take on any of these things that get released? And how do you protect yourself, or have you experienced that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because I think as healers, most of us are probably empathic. So it is within our nature to, I think, collect things from people. I feel like for me, I have been doing massage for about 23 years now. So for me, in massage school, they really drilled into us having our own grounding practices that we do before we. So for me, I set my bubble around myself before I even I get out of bed, I stand there beside my bed and I put my bubble up. So for me, I picture myself with roots in the ground. I feel like the earth is very grounding. We have that earth star chakra, right? About 12 feet, 12 inches below our feet, right? So I picture roots in the ground into that deep, rich soil. And I almost picture that my roots go right down to that warm core of the earth. And then from there, I pull that energy I feel like I visualize that energy pulling up into my body. And then when it reaches about, I'd say heart, I put a bubble up. Most of the time it's rainbow colored with some sparkles swirling around in there. It's like a snow globe. I feel like I kind of put myself in a sparkly snow globe. But it can be whatever. For me, it's a bubble of energy that, and as I'm enacting this bubble, now some people put a bubble up around themselves and they say they don't want anything coming in or out. I don't like that. I want some things to come into my bubble. I feel like for me, I don't want to completely shut off that empathic part of myself. I really pick up what people are not saying a lot because of those things I'm picking up from my client. But I don't want their stuff to stick to me. And I don't want, I don't want them to steal my energy either. Because sometimes if someone's feeling tired, they will siphon off your energy and not even know it. They're just trying to get their energy levels back up. So I enact my bubble and I always say, please let out what needs to be let out. Please let in what needs to come in, and please keep out everything else. And I just kind of hold that thought for a couple minutes with my bubble, and then I let that vision go and I go about my day. I can do that now because it's something that I've been doing and doing and doing. When I first started, before I would go in with every massage client, I would stand outside the door. I'd take a deep breath. I'd do that kind of thing for a couple seconds, and then I would go into the massage treatment. So I would say if you're not doing anything grounding practice like that, find what works for you. And I think if you go onto the Googles and you type in grounding practices, there's probably all sorts of different examples of what people are doing. But what does everybody else do for their grounding practices? What do you do, Stu? Oh, I think you're muted. Hang on.
There we go.
All right, there you
That
go.
better?
Yeah.
I ground as well. I create a shield, and then I talk about the greatest good, and I kind of use my Reiki, and I go to the north and the south, the east and the west, with the client's greatest good, and you're connected by the heart, whether you want to be or not. So you do let some things in and some things you don't. I pretend like I'm showering sometimes. It gets extremely
Mhm.
hot about halfway through, so I have to wash it and then throw it down. But when I'm doing whatever kind of sun work, I try to throw it down and brush it off.
Mhm.
But and definitely afterwards, a lot of water and go out and earth, walk
Mhm.
out barefoot wherever I can and ground down. And just one additional thing is, how important it is to ask up front, do you have any medical devices? Are you pregnant?
Mm.
There was a young lady that wasn't showing and really hadn't told anybody except her spouse. So her best friend that's I was kind of staying with, she was pregnant. And so we talked about the bulls. Oh, I don't really care, but I still did them around
Yeah.
versus on. You don't think that's an important issue? Make sure you ask. Just
For
in case.
sure. And they may not care, but they may not understand why they should care. So it's up to us to create those boundaries for sure. Because even in massage, I don't massage in the first trimester. It's just a rule. It's what I learned in school. I've taken a lot of classes, like all of that. So, it doesn't, you may not care, but that's a rule and a boundary that I have to put in place for myself. So yeah, for sure. And I think pacemakers, metal pins, metal plates, things like that, and pregnancy for sure. We want to ask about. Bree mentioned earthing in the chat as well. So earthing is a great way to, if you feel like you've left a client, Kelly, and you feel like, oh my gosh, something is stuck to me, step out onto your lawn for a couple of minutes. And like Stu said, if you feel like you know where it's, you could actually brush it off and kind of shake it off, because that really does, when you're using tuning forks, when you do like a pass with a tuning fork, you're actually supposed to shake them off in between just to get that energy off. That shaking off really does work. It symbolizes in our head, but it actually really does kind of floof off that energy. Alex, what do you do for grounding?
Actually, when I kind of about to do something with the client, right? Actually in the beginning, I say a prayer. I say a prayer, and I'm almost just like, no, I try to implement some sort of, not like you mentioned the bubble. So I try to shield myself, like, right, this light, right, of protection. And I just like, pray to my angels, that protects me. It's like, I have a couple, around me, I think.
Awesome.
So I reach out to them, and I just like, intentionally really like to protect myself, right? That being said, just like, that's not like, hey, you have this shield, you're Superman and all good, right? My wife also, she does energy work as well. And we kind of just like, been doing this in a sense that just like, in the beginning it was just like unknown, right? Being an empath, right? Just like you get all this energy, feeling really tired and exhausted. So now we know that there's anything that's different than normal. If I notice on her or she notices on me, I have to share with you guys, just like, there's this sort of like, saying, almost like a prayer, right? Because people, I mean, intentionally or not, right? We pick up these entities, right? And then just really just mess you up. Either you lose your energy, you lose your focus, you get angry, whatever it is, right? So there's this saying I need to share, maybe I share with you back in, you can
For
share
sure.
with that it really works. It's amazing. You say, she does that for me, and kind of just, and then she muscle tests, and she feels like, like, okay, that's gone, I also have a device I have to share with you guys too, that I use that you can shield yourself as well, right? It's all about energy, right? So I try to do those things, and like Stu was saying too, learning that from Reiki too, just you try to like wash it off, as much as you can, just like throw it out there, and whatever I can, I try to, not with the client, but just after the fact, just like incense or Palo Santo, whatever it is, just to kind of just like to like crystals are very good too. I try to carry some crystals on me as well.
For sure. And a crystal singing bowl in your room would do it too.
Okay.
I have sound healing instruments in my treatment room. So if I feel like there's some heavy energy in there, I'll go around the room and chime all my bowls just to get some vibration and energy moving in there. So sometimes that works also. If you, in my office building, I can't burn things, even though I really, really want to. I have to refrain from all the things I want. So I have sage spray, room spray, and then I go around and I chime everything. So yeah, for sure. And just remember that when you're flicking it off, the universe can take it. It can transmute it. The universe is powerful enough, because some people have said to me, aren't you just throwing it out there for somebody else to pick up? You're absolutely not. You're putting it out there with the intention that the universe is going to transmute this and rain it back down on you as whatever it is that you want it to be rained down on. What about you, Deb? Do you have any practices that you do for grounding?
Well, I'm still sort of developing that side of it, but I do what I have been doing is just like deep breathing. I do chime the grounding bowls, and I also pray. Like I just ask that I will be able to be there for whatever the client needs, and that my energy and like spiritually I would be protected as well.
Awesome. I love that. Excellent. What about you, Miss Bree? She might not be able to talk to us because she's been chatting. Okay. Okay, well, yeah, so I think whatever, we say this a lot, I know it's not always helpful, that whatever resonates with you is what you should do, but that's the honest truth. So if you have a prayer, if you have a mantra, if you have something that really empowers you or feels, then put that into your bubble. But whatever it is that you're doing, you should have a grounding practice, working with, because we're working with the energy of other people. We're trying to smooth out all those edges, right? We're trying to smooth out those edges, and we're trying to move energy, because that's what emotions are, right? Emotions are energy. They're excited energy. That gets stuck within the body. So moving that energy is definitely going to, there's just a lot that can happen there, but that energy does move out. So we have to have ways to protect our energy as well. And we should be offering our clients suggestions on how they should be protecting their energy too. I think we all should be keeping things to ourselves a little bit. Bree says somatic movement is the strongest for me, and certain power poses. I like that. The Superman, the superhero pose. Sometimes if I need a little confidence, I'll stand with my hands on my hips with my head up, and I'll breathe a little bit. And it's amazing how much confidence that gives you. Actually, if I have to do I don't know, sometimes before we have a big sound healing class, I'm like, oh boy, okay. And I'll superhero pose it. So for sure, power poses are good. And somatic movement. I am starting next month. It's not June yet, is it? No, it's not. I am going to be getting ecstatic dance certification. So I start that course. I know, I'm so excited. I did some ecstatic dance in Costa Rica, and totally loved it. And there's a person here in Lake Worth. Of course, it's on the other side of the state. I can't do anything that's on my side of the state. I have to constantly be traveling towards Fort Lauderdale. So I'm going to be taking that class, and that's really all about beats per minute and moving that energy in such a way that it can filter that energy out of the body as well. So, but that's what it's all about, folks. It's all about just changing the vibration and the frequency of the energy field of the body, which helps kind of smooth out the mind, body, spirit, to help people move through things. And the great thing about it is with sound healing, and this is what I like about a lot of this right now, is they don't have to relive these emotions. I don't know if you guys have experienced any of this, but especially with the bowls on the body, people will get upset. They maybe will cry, or they have those twitching moments. But I think if you ask them to really focus on what that was, they maybe don't even know. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all what it is. They don't have to put an identity to it, in my belief. I do not believe that we have to relive every single thing that is going to release out of our body. I think that was stored in there, and we helped to release it. I don't think that, I think that for the big things, we're going to want to talk about that, because that's just how, in your private sessions, that's how that goes. But I think I have been releasing things recently that I can't put an emotion or it was from this specific trauma, but I know it's released from my body, and I know that I am changed because of it for the good, without having to relive it. So, just stuff to consider, that even though people maybe don't want to talk after a group sound bath, doesn't mean that they didn't get the benefit from your session. Just because you didn't talk about it afterwards doesn't mean that it didn't happen, because it does. That energy moves. It's just how it goes. That's why we love this practice so much. All right. So I'm not sure what we're going to be covering next week, but it'll be something from module 4, probably trauma, PTSD and trauma, or maybe even palliative care. I feel like we don't talk about that stuff a lot, palliative care and hospice. And I believe that sound healing is something that could be so powerful and so transformative and soothing for people who are going through those experiences, that I would like to be getting into the hospice houses more myself. But I think it's something that we should shine a spotlight on a little bit more, because I think it's important. And within our society, we want people to live forever, and we want them to do surgeries and take medications that maybe aren't really beneficial to them. We don't give ourselves the permission to, you know, kind of die the way we want to, or go through those things with ease and grace. And I think that sound healing is a great way to help people do that. So we'll probably dig into some of those things next week. Does
Awesome.
anybody have anything else they want to talk about? Any questions? Anything we didn't go over? From anything, doesn't have to be from this conversation, anything at all?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Sure,
Sorry.
go ahead, Deb.
So, okay, I can't usually do your Thursday mornings. I can because
Okay.
I'm not working today, but is Bill doing the same topics each week?
Yes, Bill and I are going to
Okay.
be covering the same topics. And if a lot of people can't do Thursday morning, I might move it to Thursday night. I work late on Thursdays most of the time, but I can move it. We were just trying to see if maybe doing a morning class and an evening class would kind of suit everyone. Are mornings better for most of you besides Deb, or does it not matter? Okay. So yeah, but Deb, Wednesday night at 7:30, Bill does the same class.
Okay, all right, that's good. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Well, we're happy that you could join us today.
Yeah, it was really good.
Awesome. All right.
Becky, are these recordings going to be available to us?
Yes, we're recording them, and I think that I'll be sending them to Sherry, and then she'll be emailing them to you. So you guys will have the recordings from Bill's classes and from my classes every week. And then, you know, I think we're trying to pull from the portal as much as possible, because that's what you guys are working through. We want to kind of dig into those topics. But that being said, if there's anything that you guys ever want to talk about, shoot Bill or I a message, and we can totally address that in our, you know us. I think you all know us by now. We're a go with the flow. If something's not working, we try to flip it around and figure out how we can get it to work. If it's not working, we're not so stuck in things that we have to do things this way. So I think if there's a topic or anything that anybody wants to talk about, just let us know, or let us know in the beginning of these classes, and we can talk about whatever you guys need to. That's what this is for. We want to help you guys work through the modules, but we're also here to answer any of your questions and just to give a little bit more support. For my students that I'm mentoring, I try to reach out to you at least every couple of weeks and just see how you're doing. That doesn't always happen, because sometimes life, and then I go, oh my gosh, it's been 3 weeks. How did that happen? But you know, I try to reach out to you as much as possible. So, but don't hesitate to reach out to me if you ever need to. Any of you guys have my information. Reach out to me. Emailing and text messaging during the day is easier for me, because I can answer your questions between clients. But you know, if you need to call, just leave me a message if I don't answer, because I do have clients all day. So, but don't hesitate anytime. I'm always here for you.
It's a quick question about I was checking the website about them, because we had a conversation the last time. I want to do the vibrational certification as well.
Yes.
But
Okay.
did you guys change the dates, because there's more dates in place available now?
Well, and we've kind of switched up that program a little bit, because we were just doing bowls on the body, which is beautiful, and it's such an amazing practice. But we really wanted to focus on not just bowls, but also tuning forks and just individual sessions in general, because I think in our level 1 program, we just don't have the time on the weekends to even remotely get into that. We show you guys slides and it's like, here's what that looks like. But I know for me, I need a little bit more than that. So what we've done is we've taken that vibrational sound, which was 2 days of just bowls on the body, and we've made it 2 days where we're going to show you and teach you different setups for individual sessions, and then also how to use tuning forks on and off the body, and how to use bowls on and off the body, and how to use a handheld gong over the body, and how to use all of these instruments over the body to get the vibration down in there still, but on an individual session. So because the bowls on the body are super important, but we think that there's so much more that is involved in all that. Because within putting bowls on the body, you do want to have bowls around the body to also be vibrating around, because the bowls on the body are clearing out the energy here, but we also want to clear out all of the energy here as well. And by clearing out the body, you're doing that, but it's important in my head I feel like we're like an onion, right? We have all these different layers to us. So I kind of like to work from the inside out, and I kind of like to work from the outside in. But that's that meridian energy, right? That meridian energy is that yin and yang energy that spreads out from the core and comes into the core. So I just kind of try to think about working things like that. So we've switched it up. You're still going to learn bowls on the body, but you're also going to learn more
Okay.
than we even had in there before. So it's going to give you the same information, just more. So we probably are offering it.
So it'd be like,
Because-
it's gonna be like, all, it's only retreats right now, right? So I already took the level 1, so I just sign up.
Yeah. So basically the vibrational sound healing is now called level 2.
Oh, okay.
And because we want you to go through like what you guys, if you guys came in person, or for level 1. And then it kind of makes sense that the next step would be digging into those individual sessions.
Uh-huh.
And then the next step will be the master if you want to teach and all of that. So, because we didn't have it set up that way, people are kind of in all sorts of different places right now. But if individual sessions and bowls and things on the body or something you guys are interested in and you haven't taken the class, it's going to be a really cool class where we really dig into really setting you up for success with those individual sessions. And if you have done vibrational sound healing, I believe you have the ability to come and take this new version of the class with us, because it's changed up. So, but we'll get you all that information. But yeah, Alex, let me look at the schedule, because I know it's changed a whole lot.
Right,
It's
right.
changed a whole lot. And so I get stuff put in my phone and then it's like, oh no, we've changed it. So then I have to change things in my calendar. So let me look up the dates, because we're in Asheville for 2 classes now. We sold out a first class, so we had to offer a second class. And we'll also be in Salem, New Hampshire, like near Boston. So I know
Okay.
neither of those places are probably super close to you, but it's closer than Florida.
Right.
But
I
we'll
might
be,
go to Florida, believe me.
I mean, you can come on down. It's hotter than the hinges of Hades down here right now, but you're
Listen,
welcome
I'm
to it. I
Brazilian.
mean,
I'm Brazilian. I can take it. That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. We were just in Palm Springs, California, and I don't know if any of you all have been there, but it was like 106 degrees, and everybody's like, but it's dry. But it's 106 degrees. Like, I hear you. I mean, the humidity is off the chain right now, and it's awful. It feels like it's like suffocating you. You don't feel that with that heat. You just feel like you're under a heat lamp and it is directly on you. Like that heat is just, we couldn't touch the doorknob of our Airbnb because the sun, you had to like use your shirt to open doors and things. We don't have that in Florida. It's hot, but I can touch my doorknob. Over there, I mean, it was hot. And I think the lady told us it got up to like 127 degrees one day last year. I was like, no,
Yeah.
thank you. I'll stick to my Florida humidity and awfulness. But come on down anytime, Alex. It's hot.
Yes,
You can
yeah.
take it. I'll be coming up there because it's
Yes,
nicer up there in
okay.
the summer.
I mean, I can drive in New Jersey. I can drive to New Hampshire. That's fine too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll keep you posted on all of that. I'll shoot you
some
some
of the
dates.
dates so I can just plan. So
Okay.
I take off from work and anyway. So
Perfect. Yeah. And you
Okay.
send me the stuff you were going to send me, the machine information and
yes, and
the prayer thing,
mantra
right?
prayer, whatever. Yes,
Okay.
I know.
Perfect. And I'll get that out to all of you.
Yes,
And look
Becky?
in your emails for the recordings and everything.
awesome.
Yeah. What's going on, Stu? You got anything else?
Yeah, there was a great email that just came out from Facebook. There's all kind of different information that they just sent out from mindful meditation. You might want to check that out, Alex. It has all the different classes, the different things that's going
Mhm.
on. But from the next steps, level 2 makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Intuitively, I did the bowls on the body, and of course I got a set of tuning forks. So I always like to just add an earth and element. I'd ground with the big bowl. Of course, now I got a big bowl underneath and one at the feet, and then you ground it. But now I did the high C and the low C when I
Yep.
first start out, and I start with that, and I want to make sure the subtle body is open as well, and ground, and at the end I do it as well. But there's so much more you can do, just bowls on the body, bowls
Oh, for
on
sure.
and on
Yeah.
the body,
Yeah.
whether it's even in a group setting. 4 is about my limit. I was kind of tired by the time I was done four, even with the grounding ball in the center. But
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think it's a
Yeah.
powerful practice.
Yeah, for sure. And because we just kind of put this all together, I am going to do different videos on all of the different tuning fork techniques. So the rolling technique and the wave technique and how to balance out the chakras, doing the horizontal technique. And then I'm also going to make a video of like a full individual session using all of the tools I have from my point of view, because Bill doesn't use tuning forks. So I'm hoping he's going to do a video from how he sets his up, and then I'll do it from how I set mine up. That way you guys will have a couple of different examples in the portal where you can go in and look and go, oh, that's a neat idea. But with that being said, you do whatever pops into your head, because the world is your oyster here. You can set these sessions up and use everything you can think of, and they're powerful. So we always want you to remember that we're giving you guys instruction, but this is by no means like this is how you have to do it, and this is the only way you can do it forever. We just want you guys to have some, these tuning fork things I'm going to be videoing are very basic, but that's all you're doing anyway. I do all these techniques every day because they work. They're basic techniques, but it's how you use the tuning fork. So, and then if you guys want to dig into that more, then you can, if that resonates with you. But, I find that protocols are helpful in the beginning because they give you some sort of like, okay, I guess I know how this works, and it gives you that space to get more comfortable. But then I encourage you to work outside of the perimeters of those protocols when you feel like you're ready, because you guys all have so many cool, awesome things you're all doing out there. And I think however you can incorporate those things into your lives is awesome, and into your sessions. So keep being cool, you guys, and doing awesome things. Yeah. And thanks for plugging in today. We'll see you guys next week.
Have a nice Memorial Day weekend, guys. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. You guys too. Bye.
Bye.